Hunt 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by
for whatever reason, you really want to get a rousing debate going, quite frankly, possibly even a heck of an argument or a fight of all the things in this world, start talking odor control. I have no idea why, but a percentage of people out there, well, I do understand why. A percentage of people out there, quite honestly, just plain are offended if you try to tell them that you can cut odor control yourself. Not that they should be, but that you can. Next thing you know, they're all upset and it's because, well, I'll leave the because part alone. But the important part is there's two ways to be able to go ahead and safely hunt stands when it comes to being winded. One is to absolutely go nuts on the odor control. This stuff works, but you have to treat everything. You know what? If I go nuts treating everything I've got and then wear this hat into the deer woods without treating it, well, I better be expecting to hear some and some stomps from the deer downwind, because that's gonna happen. Okay. If you're gonna go ahead and try to defeat a whitetail's sense of smell through odor control, be thorough. Treat every item you bring in the deer woods with you, and if you don't have to bring it, don't. Please make me go walking back to the truck for my gutting gloves, my knife, and a tow rope. That means it's really been a good sit. Okay? The other is to hunt the wind. In order to hunt the wind, though, you need to understand how the wind works, thermals, switches, all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. The silly little shed that I'm sitting in front of, it impacts wind flow. If that wind is hitting me straight in the face, when it hits this shed, it's going to do one of three things. As a matter of fact, it's going to do all three things at once. Some of the wind is going to split out around and quite possibly swirl behind. Some of the wind flow is going to go over, and when it goes over, it's going to tumble behind it as well. The exact same thing happens when it hits a ridge, when it hits a hill, all those types of things. Think of this shed here as nothing more than a rock in a trout stream. Okay. Think of the water flowing down that trout stream as the airflow. When that water hits this rock, if the rock is underneath the water, well, it tumbles over and tumbles around. If the rock sticks up out of the water, it goes around, it swirls behind. It's the same stuff with odor control. So if you're sitting at the base of that ridge, okay, the wind is blowing straight in your face, and you're trying to hunt these deer out in front of you, guess what? Those deer out in front of you are probably going to smell you because it hits the ridge and it tumbles in front of the ridge before it goes heading up over as well. Thermals. Thermals are absolutely nothing but heat-causing gases, air, to rise and fall depending on how its temperature relative to the atmosphere. Hot air rises, cold air settles. Okay, so in the morning, when it's nice and crisp out there, you can go ahead and sit on the side of that ridge on a relatively calm morning. 2-3 mile an hour wind. You're sitting on the side of that ridge with the wind going to the ridge. Oh, there's a buck walking up on top of the ridge. You're right at eye level with your stand because you're slightly down. He doesn't smell you. Why? Because on that cool morning, the thermals are lifting. You're hotter than the environment. Odors. Remember, your body, it's at 98 degrees. The gases coming off of our body is warmer than that 30-degree morning, so they tend to rise. Now you look at that afternoon. Okay? Man, it's hot out there. And now the atmosphere itself, the air, is pushing down because it's cooler than that ground that's been sucking up all that heat all day. So now you're in that same scenario, hunting that ridge. Well, rather than the thermals, lifting you up. Now you go ahead and set that ridge with that buck walking downwind at no rate at eye level. He's going to smell you almost anytime. Even if he's below you now, he's most likely going to smell you because those odors are going to settle as they fall into the airflow. Oh, and one more thing, and this is why blinds work so darn well, is remember, it goes around. You want good flow, it has to be able to go through. But if it can't go through, it tends to go around. By closing up the backside windows on those blinds, you don't have a nice airflow through. The air tends to go around. Especially if you go ahead and take some dirt, push it up against the bottom skirting of those blinds, close those back windows, well, that works out brilliantly. But just remember, you either have to take odor control seriously or learn how wind works and learn it well and hunt it religiously. Those are the ways that you beat a whitetail's sense of smell. Final thoughts brought to you by Huntworth. There's really two different ways to beat a whitetail's sense of smell. One is to go nuts on odor control. The other is to understand wind flow so well and follow it religiously. Okay, think of wind as nothing more than the water traveling down a trout stream and how it reacts to the various rocks and boulders and obstacles it runs in. It hits that rock, it goes over and it tumbles on the backside. It goes around and it swirls on the backside. Okay, and then also factor in thermals. Thermals, in the morning, in cool mornings, your thermals have a high tendency of rising. Afternoons, your thermals have a high tendency to settle. Learn it, utilize it, and it will help you tremendously when it comes to going unwinded out in the deer woods.